Just picking up a bit of pace here. See what it's like. It's actually epic. It's epic. I'm Simon from Deane Motors, and this is another Simon Says, where I'm unbelievably happy to be out of the lane this morning and down here at Carton House to drive this stunning Mercedes 450 6.9. The most important part is the 6.9. This for me is the definitive Mercedes Super Saloon. Produced from 1975 to 1981, this is a 1981 car, one of the 4 last cars ever made. So it's really late production, which is nice. And the fact that it's a right-hand drive as well, very limited production. There was only 1,200 cars made in right-hand drive. So this is a 1981 car with 100,000 miles. An awful lot of money has been spent on this car, over £30,000 over the past couple of years, to get the car to the standard that it's at now. It's had a full body refurbishment. It's had a full correct Mercedes leather interior put in it. It's biblically good looking, I have to say. And the fact that it's so subtle, but with that engine in it, it is just monstrous. It was the world's fastest 4-door production car when it came out. I'm just going to show you a few things in the car. We got the interior done. I'm just going to pull the bonnet because I want to show you that also after. The interior is just stunning. We've put new carpets in the car. All the leather is being retrimmed in correct Mercedes leather. The walnut finish is super in the car. That's one difference that you will notice about these is the 6.9 came with the burr walnut finish, where the lesser models, the standard 450s or the 350s, they came with Zebrano wood. The 6.9 only came in a long wheelbase edition. So obviously you have longer foot room for the back, for dictator spec as I like to call it. So if you needed to be in the back of the car and get out of an ambush when you're being shot at, this is the perfect car for it. So the most important thing about this car is this 6.9. It is the ultimate cachet of any car, and the fact that it actually has the biggest V8 production engine made after World War II is just epic. Mercedes haven't made a bigger V8 engine ever since this car. So I'm going to show you in the engine bay the most important thing, just to see what the heart of the car is really like. In these earlier cars you have 2 clips either side of the bonnet. So it's using a cast iron V8 single overhead camshaft, Bosch KE Jetronic, but it's a mechanical electronic fuel injection. And I'm not going to lie to you, it is an absolute guzzler on fuel. But as I like to say, smiles per gallon, smiles per gallon. So Mercedes were pretty tech in all fairness with this car. It uses hydropneumatic suspension, which is worked here, works off a vacuum pump on the engine. So you can raise and adjust the height of the car. Sort of similar to what Citroën used in earlier cars. It works off sphere system. But they also put a dry sump lubrication in the car, which this is the tank over here. To measure the oil, there's no dipstick as such in a normal engine. To measure the oil, you have to get the car to full operating temperature, and then you measure it while the car is running. The reason for doing this was they wanted to prolong service intervals on the cars, and they also wanted to lower the front of the car so that the sump wasn't obviously hitting the ground, but they wanted to lower the front of the car because of the extra speed and performance that the car had, obviously for buffeting and road holding and that sort of stuff. But it's just a monster. The fact that there's nearly a 7-litre engine in any Mercedes is just, yeah, it's biblical. So I'm going to get it out on the road and let's see what this thing is really all about. Well, like every classic car, this has its own procedure in starting it. The only difference between this and a standard 450 is that this is the hydropneumatic suspension. So when you turn it on, get the engine started, you have a check light here. Once that illuminates red, and then it goes out just to let you know that the suspension has hit its clearances that it needs. The sound of the engine, just starting this up again, it's like turning on a plane. It's monster. So let's crack on the air conditioning just for a bit. The air conditioning in this car was completely overhauled. It's now running on R134A. So, as I was saying earlier on, the code name for this car is the engine for this, the 6.9, is the M100. So, roughly about 286 brake horsepower, but it had a mammoth 549 foot-pounds of torque, which was serious torque. So, back in the day for a super saloon, it was epic. Performance-wise, it would literally out-accelerate some Ferraris of the day. Interestingly enough, when Mercedes, every engine that Mercedes put into the 6.9s, they bench tested for roughly around 4.5-5 hours. I think it was about 260 minutes. So they bench tested the engine for that, but for a full 40 minutes they ran the engine on full load just to make sure everything was okay with it. It revs out to roughly about 5,500 RPM. You don't need to go all the way through the rev range to really get all the power out of this car. It's all low down. I remember the first day that I picked it up, I was kind of blown away by how effortlessly it just pulled away. Literally quarter throttle and all of a sudden you're doing 40-50 mile an hour, and you didn't have to think about it, you didn't have to push it. It has a limited slip differential in it. That was standard in the 6.9, but what else was standard was it has a 3-speed gearbox. So first gear takes you all the way to 68 mile an hour, second gear is about 110. So there's quarter throttle, it's 55 mile an hour. Not pushing it hard at all. The one thing I will say is you don't rush this car. Yeah, I mean it is composed as such, but it's like 1900 kg in weight. Like, it's nearly 2 ton and it's nearly 20 foot in length. You don't rush it at all. Like, you just got to set the car up for the bend and accelerate through it, and it does. It really does. It handles nice. Bear in mind, the car is 37 years old. It's still running from the same design as 75. They didn't change anything. So, self-leveling suspension, it never really dips. Obviously, with the weight that's in it, the car sits stable all the time. It's in its lowest setting at the moment. One thing that they spoke about in the day was, for the price of it, you didn't get a huge amount of interior functions, in that you don't have electric windows, you don't have electric mirrors. Just picking up a bit of pace here, see what it's like. It's actually epic. It's epic. It's epically quick. It kind of blows the socks off me sometimes to imagine that this car is so old and the way it just performs. I mean, my God. Now, braking in it is okay. Obviously, there's discs all around, but again, it's 40-year-old braking. In 1978, ABS became standard in these cars, so that's pretty cool. They were ridiculously expensive, just ridiculous. Back when they were launched, they ranged at around $40,000. A Rolls Royce Shadow was $42,000, and by the time it finished in '81, they were 50 grand. That is mega money. These were only for people who were super wealthy and just wanted the ultimate Mercedes. Now, it's not a twisty back road sort of car. This is Autobahn 120, 130 mile an hour for hours is what this car is good at. But it's just so nice to get into it and drive. It's so beautiful and it's quiet. But when you accelerate, I mean, the sound of that V8, and it's just the way it picks up. Ah. Amazing. I mean, James Hunt had one of these. And if that says anything, I mean, he liked to drive quick, but this was his car of choice. These were a driver's car. I mean, 0 to 60 wasn't that impressive. Roughly, some road tests of the day timed 6.5s. Mercedes stated it was 7.2. Mercedes also said that they did figure road tests to a top speed about 140 mile an hour, maybe 141. But road and track, I think, measured the car at 151 mile an hour they got out of it. So that is serious stuff. It really is. Obviously, it's the interior is lovely. The seats are unbelievably comfortable. The colour combination, astral silver with this navy blue leather, is just, it's gorgeous. And you know, it's not a car that you go out in and just floor down the road all the time, but you can drive a pure comfort in it, but at the same time you just know you have all the power that you need with it. So I'm majorly impressed. I just love it. So I hope you liked our video. I'm just happy that I got to get up and go out for a drive in this thing. Really, I have to say. So if you liked our video, like us, follow us on our YouTube channel, Simon Says Deane Motors. Follow our Instagram, which is Deane Motors Dublin, and our Facebook page. But please like and share us. It's great to be able to do this sort of stuff, and it's more important that you guys enjoy it as well. For anyone who's looking to buy this car, you can contact me anytime. We have the car for sale for $49,999, so 50 grand essentially. So if you look at it in a sensible way, it's never lost any money. Anyway, keynote for the day: stay classy. See you later.